December 2019. In our lead stories, nationally, Budget Day is December 3rd, 2019 here on Nevis, and former Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis to launch his book in December. Regionally, Barbados government denies claims that there's E. coli in the island's water supply. Internationally, U.S. President calls for Senate trial if impeached. And in sports, Colin Archibald stars in Leeward's win against Canada. We'll have the details of these and other stories after this message.
Another look.
Different from how you've seen it before.
Another look.
Takes an in-depth look into business, politics, science, technology, religion, and more.
Another look.
Featuring documentaries from the BBC, regional features, and local ones too.
Another look.
Every Monday at 3 p.m. on the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse.
Wrong.
Welcome back. Another national news in detail. Budget Day is slated to be held in early December. This, as a sitting of the Nevis Island Assembly slated for Tuesday, December 3rd, based on a notice from the Assembly. At the sitting, Premier of Nevis and Minister of Finance, Honorable Mark Brantley, will present the 2020 budget. It will be held at the Assembly's Chambers, Hamilton House in Charlestown at 10 a.m. Earlier this week, a sitting was held on Tuesday, November 19th, where 3 bills were passed, namely the Integrity in Public Life Amendment Bill 2019, Nevis Business Corporation Amendment Bill 2019, and Nevis Limited Liability Company Amendment Bill 2019. The proceedings will be carried live here on VON Radio, 8:60 a.m., as well as www.vonradio.com. Former Prime Minister, National Hero Sir Kennedy Alphonse Simmons, KCMG, will launch his book in December 2019, almost 25 years after he last served St. Kitts Nevis at the highest level of government. Sir Simmons will release his book at 2 separate launch ceremonies. Firstly, on Thursday, December 19th at the Methodist Church Hall, Old Boys School in St. Kitts, and then on Friday, December 20th at the Anglican Church Hall in Charlestown. At these events, persons attending the launch ceremonies, which are open to the general public, will have the opportunity to have their books autographed. The books will also be sold at local bookstores in Charlestown and Bastia. Based on a release from VH Communications, the book chronicles Sir Simmons' life from his early days as a boy living at Rosemary Lane in Bastia, through his primary and grammar school days, before going on to become a medical doctor and then the last Premier and first Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis. Sir Kennedy Simmons served as Premier of St. Kitts and Nevis from 1980 until the Twin Island state gained independence from the United Kingdom on September 19, 1983. Upon independence, he became the first Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, having served from 1983 to 1995. Rescue personnel in St. Kitts Nevis continue to stick to their pledge to assist individuals in times of crisis. A police communique indicated that a search and rescue operation was carried out on Wednesday, 20th November on Mount Laimiga for a tourist. The release indicates that police received a report at about 5:45 p.m. on the said date that 21-year-old Jamie Howell of Canada was lost on St. Kitts' 3,793 feet high peak. In response, a joint search and rescue team comprising members of the police force, the St. Kitts and Nevis Defense Force, the St. Kitts Nevis Fire and Rescue Service, and the Emergency Medical Service was formed and dispatched immediately. The search began for the Canadian who had gone hiking alone and had fallen down the mountainside, got injured, and lost. He was subsequently spotted in the Newtown Ground area on Thursday, 21st November, and was first taken to the Parkson Medical Center by police officers. According to the report, Howell was receiving medical attention at the Joseph N. France General Hospital up to Thursday evening. In police news, Paul Maynard of Sandy Point, St. Kitts, has received several charges from both the police and the Customs and Excise Department. Mr. Maynard was charged after a barrel he went to clear at Customs on Thursday, November 14th, was found to have a quantity of cannabis concealed in a bottle inside. A press release from the police says subsequent search on his premises resulted in a quantity of cannabis being found as well. He was charged on Friday, November 15th by the police for the offenses of possession of cannabis with intent to supply, and importation of cannabis. He was also charged by the Customs and Excise Department for the offenses of making a false declaration to customs, importation of cannabis, and concealment of imported goods. He received bail on Tuesday, November 19th in the sum of $25,000 with 2 sureties, with the condition that he is to report to the Sandy Point Police Station every Friday. He is set to appear at the Bastille Magistrate Court on January 6, 2020. Meanwhile, Edmund Cozier of Lambert, St. Kitts, has received several charges from both the police and the Customs and Excise Department. He was charged after a package he went to clear at Customs on Monday, November 18th, was found to have a quantity of cannabis concealed in it. He was charged by the police on Tuesday, November 19th, for the offenses of possession of cannabis with intent to supply, and importation of cannabis. He was also charged by the Customs and Excise Department for the offenses of making a false declaration to customs, importation of cannabis, concealment of imported goods, and attempting to evade a customs officer. He is currently in police custody. In more police news, Adrian Webster of Newtown, St. Kitts, has been charged for the offenses of possession of cocaine with intent to supply, possession of cannabis, and possession of cannabis with intent to supply. A police communique says the charges were laid on last Friday, November 15th, after quantities of cocaine and cannabis were found on his premises following a search conducted during a joint operation. Mr. Webster received bail on Tuesday, November 19th, in the sum of $10,000 with 2 sureties. He is set to appear before the Bastille Magistrate Court on January 6, 2020. Persons interested in scholarship opportunities at Monroe College will be afforded the opportunity to be part of the informational sessions next week, as representatives of the college will be present in St. Kitts and Nevis. Special project coordinator to the president at Monroe College is Miss Kimara Isaac.
Senior Vice President Alex Ephraim and myself will be hosting an information session in Nevis on Monday, November 25th from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. This information session will be at the Nevis Cooperative Credit Union, Charlestown, Nevis. Attending Monroe's information session is the best way to learn everything you need to know about the college and the King Graduate School. At the information session, students and parents will be informed about the admissions requirements and degree programs offered at the college.
Having spoken with the VON Newsline, she said there is no age range for persons wishing to study at the college and that a similar session will be held in St. Kitts.
At the end of the day, we have programs available for everyone. Some persons, generally the younger population between that age group of, let's say, 18 and 30, they would probably come to New York or go to our St. Lucia campus. But then the older population, 70, 60, it's never too late to go back to school, and we do have online programs. So we are going to be talking about the different ways in which anyone, once you're interested, can earn the degree. We will have a information session in St. Kitts as well on Tuesday, November 26th Same time, 5 p.m. to 6:30, and this will be held at the Marriott Hotel, Frigate Bay.
Miss Kamara Isaac. Monroe College is a private for-profit college and graduate school based in New York City. The college was founded in 1933 and has campuses in the Bronx, New Rochelle, and St. Lucia, with an extension site in Manhattan. According to monroecollege.edu, its single goal is to educate men and women for a successful future. And finally, a release from Government House on St. Kitts has indicated that Governor General of St. Kitts and Nevis, His Excellency Sir S.W. Tapley Seaton, GCMG, CVO, QC, JP, LLD, has resumed his duties. According to an earlier release, Governor General Seaton left the Federation on Thursday, 7th November. In that release, it also stated that the Governor General considers the period in which he will be absent to be a short duration, while in his absence, Michael Morton, CBE, JP, to perform the duties as Governor General's deputy in pursuance of Section 23 of the Constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis. That's the national news segment. You can visit our website at www.vonradio.com or check us out on Facebook at Von Radio or our Von Radio YouTube channel for these and other stories. News from across the region is next.
Drive in style with your brand new vehicle. Compliments the Bank of Nevis Limited. We are offering 100% financing on all brand new vehicles with a very competitive interest rate. But that's not all. We are giving you up to 7 years to repay. That's right, 7 years. Contact us by phone or come into our branch today. All right. The Bank of Nevis Limited. My bank, your bank, our bank. The Bank of Nevis Limited. Improving the quality of life. Like us on Facebook. Who got the keys to my bimmer?
Welcome back, and now the regional news in detail. Out of Barbados. Minister of Energy and Water Resources Wilfred Abrahams has denied social media reports that there is E. coli in the water supply in the north of the island. Speaking during a press briefing at the Lara Court, he described the message, which has been circulating, as a dangerous misrepresentation and an untruth. Abrahams explained that due to reports of discolored water in some of the northern parishes, the Barbados Water Authority, BWA, and the Ministry of Health and Wellness had undertaken stepped-up testing. And he said that those tests revealed a reduced level of residual chlorine in the system. The minister added that the BWA had taken measures to make the necessary adjustments, which have seen the increase in those residual chlorine levels. Abrams urged persons wishing to get information from the BWA about their systems or any issues being experienced to use the official channels available or contact the BWA. Still out of Barbados. Government has vowed to do all in its power to bring back stability and normalcy to Barbados after 2 days of extensive power outages. Prime Minister Mia Mottley expressed this commitment to the country after a 90-minute meeting with a team from Barbados Light and Power, BL&P, and its parent company Emera, led by the Chief Operating Officer and Chair of the Board for Emera Caribbean and Barbados, Rick Janija, as well as public officials. The Prime Minister said the BL&P would be bringing its team from as far as Korea to assist in dealing with the issues. She stated that additional generating capacity was required and that the BL&P officials would have to make a decision on that matter, which would give the country the comfort of an additional, at minimum 30 megawatts of power. Motley said her team expressed their views frankly and respectfully to the BLNP during the meeting. She explained that this was a critical time in the country's development and disclosed that there were investors on island who were keen to build 2 hotels, including the Hyatt. Out of Haiti. Haiti is in the home stretch of defeating a cholera outbreak first declared 9 years ago, but the battle is far from over before the country is free of deadly disease. That's according to UN Special Envoy Josette Sharon, writing in an op-ed published in the Miami Herald, who reported that there have been no laboratory-confirmed cases of cholera in the entire country for the past 9 months. She said the momentous achievement was a result of an innovative strategic partnership between the government, the UN, and key stakeholders, Caribbean 360 says. Furthermore, it took place during a time of multiple national crises, supply chain breakdowns, and while the UN presence there was in transition. When UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres took office in 2017, he lamented that the United Nations, which has apologized for its role in the epidemic, simply did not do enough at the onset of the crisis and should have responded more effectively and quickly. We have since worked overtime to be the full partners that Haiti has deserved, she wrote. The UN envoy urged the international community to continue working towards a cholera-free Haiti. With a roughly $20 million funding gap through 2022, there is no time to rest. And finally, a U.S. $1.3 billion appeal has been launched to meet the increasing humanitarian needs of Venezuelan refugees and migrants in Latin America and the Caribbean, and to support the communities hosting them. The ongoing political and economic crisis in the South American country has forced more than 4.6 million citizens to flee, nearly 80% of whom are sheltering in the region. If current trends continue, numbers could reach 6.5 million by next year, according to the UN Refugee Agency UNHCR and the International Organization for Migration IOM, which launched the plan. Only through a coordinated and harmonized approach will it be possible to effectively address the large-scale needs which continue to increase and evolve as the current crisis deepens, said Eduardo Stein, joint UNHCR IOM Special Representative for Venezuelan refugees and migrants. The 2020 Regional Refugee and Migrant Response Plan, RMRP, includes actions in 9 key sectors such as health, education, protection, nutrition, shelter, and humanitarian transport. That's it for the regional stories. Stay with us for news from around the world. Welcome back, and now the international news in detail. U.S. President Donald Trump has declared a trial in the Senate if the House of Representatives vote to impeach him over Ukraine. In a lengthy interview on Fox News TV, Mr. Trump said he was angered in what he heard in the impeachment hearings, but it would help him in next year's presidential elections. The BBC's Ali Makbul reports.
He was calling for a Senate trial, and there he would be on safe ground. If he is impeached, if it does go to a Senate trial, the Senate is Republican-led. For him to be removed from office would need a 2/3 majority, which would need at least 20 Senate Republicans switching to side with the Democrats, and that looks very unlikely.
Iran has arrested about 100 leaders of the protests against a hike in petrol prices, the judiciary says. They were identified and detained in various parts of the country by Iran's powerful Revolutionary Guards. The announcement came as the U.S. placed sanctions on Iran's communications minister for restricting internet access during the unrest. Amnesty International says more than 100 people were killed during the protests which hit several cities. Other sources said the toll may be far higher. Iranian officials earlier this week confirmed 12 deaths. Lingerie brand Victoria's Secret has cancelled its annual fashion show amid dwindling television ratings and rising criticism of the event. The show launched in 1995 and was once a major pop culture event, drawing millions of viewers each year. Last year, it had its lowest ratings ever and drew criticism that it was sexist, outdated, and lacked diversity. The brand's parent company, L Brands, said it was important to evolve its marketing strategy. We are figuring out how to advance the positioning of the brand and best communicate that to customers, Stuart Bergdorfer, L Brands' chief financial officer, told investors on an earnings call. Nevertheless, he said the shows were an important aspect of the brand and a remarkable marketing achievement. The annual show featured some of the world's top supermodels, often wearing elaborate outfits. According to the BBC, poor sales at Victoria's Secret weighed on the performance of L Brands, which reported a net loss of $252 million in the third quarter results announced this year. And finally, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has defiantly vowed to hold onto power after being charged with bribery, fraud, and breach of trust in connection with 3 separate cases. He condemned the charges as a coup attempt against him. "I will not let the lie triumph," he said during a defiant speech. Mr. Netanyahu is alleged to have accepted gifts from wealthy businessmen and dispensed favors to try to get more positive press coverage. "I will continue to lead the country according to the letter of the law," he added. During a 50-minute tirade, Mr. Netanyahu accused the judiciary, police, and others of plotting against him with politically motivated allegations. Earlier, Attorney General Avichai Mandelblit said he made the decision with a heavy heart, but said it showed nobody was above the law in Israel. The announcement comes amid a political standoff in Israel following 2 inconclusive general elections in April and September. That brings us to the end of our news segments. The latest in sports is next.
Get more than just VAT. TDC Automotive is giving you more. Pay no VAT on the first $50,000 on any vehicle. No deposit, no interest for the first 3 months. That's no VAT. No deposit, no interest. We give you more, so you save more. Receive up to $3,000 in cashback credit. Save up to 60% off your insurance premium. Get your personalized TDC token for 2 years of instant savings. Plus, save thousands in free extras. Get more than just VAT from TDC Automotive. We're #1 for a reason. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. Another sports in detail. In cricket, at one point the Leeward Hurricanes were dicely poised at 190 for 8 and the Canadian team pressed for the win. However, they met stout resistance from Colin Archibald and Quinton Boatswain, who batted stoutly towards the end of the innings, with Archibald leading the way with a fantastic 32 not out. In the process, he hit 2 fours and 2 sixes. The Canadian team in response started rapidly and would have been harboring thoughts of an upset victory, but a speedy Quinton Boatswain and an accurate Colin Archibald put the brakes on the visitors, and eventually they succumbed at 183 all out. Boatswain bagged 3 wickets and Archibald 3. Summarized scores: Leeward 232 for 9 from 50 overs. Devon Thomas 53, Monson Hodge 34, Colin Archibald 32 not out, Amir Jangu 26, Terence Ward 25, Akeem Saunders 22, Rayan Pathan 4 for 52, Shahid Ahmad Zain 3 for 46. Canada 183 all out in 43.5 overs. Rayan Pathan 44, Hash Theka 40, Kanwa Man 25 not out. Colin Archibald 3 for 36, Quentin Boatswain 3 for 37, Shino Berridge 2 for 50, Terence Ward 1 for 18, and Jason Campbell 1 for 39. Leewards won by 49 runs. In boxing, former 5-weight boxing world champion Floyd Mayweather says he is coming out of retirement in 2020. Mayweather, 42, made the announcement on social media after an earlier message that he was in talks with UFC President Dana White. Dana White and I are working together again to bring the world another spectacular event in 2020, he said. Mayweather's last outing saw him win an exhibition boxing match against Japanese kickboxer Tenshin Nasukawa. The fight took place in December 2018, and the American needed just 140 seconds to beat his opponent in a bout worth a reported $9 million. Mayweather also came out of retirement in 2017 to beat UFC fighter Conor McGregor in the Irishman's first ever boxing match. In cricket, England continued to scrap their way into the ascendancy on a hard-fought second day of the first test against New Zealand. Having ground their way to a competitive, if not imposing, 353 all-out with a bat, their bowlers maintained the pressure to leave the hosts 144 for 4 at the close, trailing by 209. Sam Curran took the key wicket of New Zealand captain Kane Williamson in the final hour, having made the initial breakthrough to dislodge Tom Latham. Jack Leach and Ben Stokes also took wickets on another traditional day at Test cricket in Mount Mangaung, leaving Henry Nicholls and B.J. Wantlin to watchfully see off the final few overs. Scores were England 353, Stokes 91, Denley 74, Southey 4 for 88, New Zealand 144 for 4, Williamson 51, S. Curran 2 for 28. New Zealand trailed by 209 runs. And finally, in athletics, sprinter Dana Asher-Smith has been named Sunday Times Sportswoman of the Year for 2019. The 23-year-old became the first British woman to win a major global sprint title when she stormed to victory in the 200-meter at the World Championships in Doha in October. It is the second successive year that Asher-Smith has claimed the accolade. England's netball team won the Team of the Year award after finishing third at July's World Cup in Liverpool. They had also won the same award in 2018 after claiming a memorable gold at the Commonwealth Games. As well as 200-meter gold, Asher-Smith also won 100-meter and 4x100-meter silver, making her the first athlete, male or female, since Mary Rand in 1964 to win 3 medals at the same global championships. That's it for sports. The general weather report is next. Welcome back, and now the local weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis. Weather tonight will be partly cloudy to cloudy with a 50% or moderate chance of showers. Weather tomorrow will be partly sunny to cloudy with a 50% or moderate chance of showers. Winds are northeast at 7 to 19 kilometers per hour or 4 to 10 knots. Seas are 1 to 1.5 meters or 3 to 5 feet. Sunrise tomorrow will be at 6:19 a.m. And that's a wrap up the major news package for today, Friday, 22nd November 2019. Before we go, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Nationally, Budget Day is December 3rd, 2019 here on Nevis, and former Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis to launch his book in December. Regionally, Barbados government denies claims that there is E. coli in the island's water supply. Internationally, U.S. President Donald Trump calls for Senate trial if impeached. And in sports, Colin Archibald stars in Leeward's win against Canada. On behalf of the rest of the news team, I am Tashan Tyson, wishing you an enjoyable weekend.